Hopefully.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, okay, assalamu alaikum everybody. Jazakallah khair for inviting me here. I feel really privileged actually. This is the first talk I'm doing after.
We feel really privileged that you're here.
Ghazal I've known for years, since Plash at school days. I think you were in my maths and my chemistry class.
Was that? I wasn't that right?
And after many years, I mean, gosh, I think the last time we saw each other was definitely when we were 16.
Yeah.
And she hasn't changed a bit, and she said I haven't changed, but I know I have. So,
Spiritually, we've changed spiritually.
Definitely, definitely, which is such a good thing, isn't it? And it doesn't matter about the way we look or whether we look old or not. Spiritually, we have definitely changed for the better, which is great. So congratulations on your new house, wonderful area, beautiful house, mashallah. Decorated it really well. So what my talk today is about the etiquettes of moving into a new house. Some of you who don't know me, in this capacity, I am an alima. I do come on the Islam channel as well. I've been on it quite a lot lately. Apart from that, I do lectures on an international level now through YouTube, but also in this country, everywhere. And once in a while, if I like the person and I know them, then I do little ones like this in a house as well.
I'm liked.
Yes. Because I already knew her. If it was an ordinary person, I wouldn't have gone, no.
Well, then you would have come to my house then.
I don't know. I do like you. It depends, you see. Everything's different. So the etiquettes of moving into a new house. Basically, did you know even the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, first of all, he bought a new house. When he moved to Medina, he made a house for himself. So people knew then what had to be done. And also some of the Sahabas in his lifetime, they also moved into new houses. So the Prophet also told us what we have to do as well. So we're looking at the etiquettes of moving into a new house. And if we move on, the first thing, does anybody know what you should do the first thing when you buy new houses? What do you normally say when you walk in or do?
Bismillah, when you come into the house.
Yes, we haven't got to that bit yet. Say you've just, the contracts have just been exchanged. No. What do you normally say with your mouth when all of a sudden the contract changes? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Because you know, even that process, especially in this country, there's a big if, isn't there? I know so many people. I know one sister who tried to move house 3 times, and all 3 times at the contract exchanging stage, it all went through. And even when buying a shop or buying a business, it can happen as well. So the first thing that you have to do is to say Alhamdulillah. And that's because you are grateful for the blessing of Allah, because being grateful is one of the noblest of deeds. It's Allah alone that has blessed you, and if you are thankful, Allah will increase you even more in His blessings. And we know this actually from the Quran. So there is an ayah in the Quran. It says, and remember when your Lord proclaimed, if you give thanks, I will give you more of my blessings. But if you are thankless, verily, my punishment is indeed severe. That's in Quran, Surah Ibrahim, chapter 14, verse 7. So that is very, very important. And then the next thing is that, did you know you have to be grateful? And did you know that being grateful is actually half of your faith? The more grateful you are, the more Allah blesses you. And that is very, very important. Even if your house is a little cottage, or even if it's a big mansion, just be grateful, because that is what Allah has put in your destiny for you to have. So Ibn al-Qayyum said, faith is half of 2 halves. Half is gratitude and half is patience. And did you know that gratitude plus patience, both of them joined together, then make your faith really lovely and strong, which is really, really good. And then it also, you should say this dua. This dua is actually there in the hadiths. Someone asked Sheikh Sari al-Uthman what a person should say if he enters his house. He said, praise be to Allah. When a man enters his house, he should say this. So it's A'udhu bi kalimat illa idamati min sharri ma khalaq. I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah from the evil on which He has created 3 times. Now, did you know that when a house is empty for a while, say for example, somebody's moved out of the house and it's been empty for a while and then you move in it, what is there the likelihood that might be in that house? Jinns. Because did you know jinns live in empty places, deserted places? We know that from haunted house films and things, don't we? Wherever there's an empty place, that's where jinns go. Some people say they don't believe in jinns and what a load of rubbish and she's backward. But did you know believing in jinns is actually part of our faith? There is a Surah Jinn in the Quran, okay? Jinns are mentioned in the Quran. There are good jinns and bad jinns. And also, if we believe in angels, which is part of the Imam Mufassal, the 7 Imam Mufassal, angels is one thing we also cannot see, but we believe in angels, don't we? Then also, jinns as well. We can't see them, but we know that we have to believe in them. It's actually part of our faith. Did you know you're not a Muslim if you don't believe in jinns? Because it's part of the Imam Mufassal, the 7 declarations of being a Muslim. So it's very, very important that we do believe in them. So by saying this, you're actually seeking refuge from any jinns that might be living in that house in the time that it might have been empty, for example. And then the next thing is that also when the Prophet ﷺ saw something he liked, he would say, Alhamdulillah illadhi bini matihi tatimul swalihat. Praise be to Allah by whose grace good deeds are completed. And that's in Ibn Majah. And then we come to what you said, when you enter the house. So you've exchanged contracts and now you're going to enter the house. And there are 2 things that you say when you enter the house. All houses, by the way, have jinns in them. Whether it's been empty or not for a while. All houses have jinns living in there. We know that, for example, from in the toilets, which I'm going to come to in a minute. So did you know that the type of jinns that are in your house are called awamir? And basically, when you enter your house, there is this dua, Bismillahi, walajna, wa Bismillahi, kharajna, wa ala rabbana tawakkalna. Okay, so in the name of Allah we enter, and in the name of Allah we leave, and upon our Lord we place our trust. So you say Bismillah, which prevents the shaitan from entering. Saying Bismillah on entering your house will keep the shaitan out. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said this is not only for a new house, but rather it includes all houses and at all times of entering. So start your life in your new house with the remembrance of Allah. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said when a man enters his house and mentions Allah, when he enters and when he eats, shaitan says to himself, you have no place to stay and no dinner. But if he enters and doesn't mention Allah when he enters, shaitan says you've found a place to stay. And if he doesn't mention Allah when he eats, he says you've found a place to stay and dinner. And that's in Sahih Muslim, which is a very strong hadith. So that's very, very important. Does anybody know something else that you say as you enter your house ordinarily? It doesn't have to be a new house.
Salam.
Yes, who said that? Well done. Do you know why you say that?
Yeah.
What are you saying salam to?
You're saying salam to the angels?
You are. That's a very, very good answer. So many people don't know that answer, so well done. They come in and they say Assalamu alaikum loud, because you say salam to all the angels that are living in your house. Because there are angels in your house, as well as good jinns and bad jinns as well. And then, in the name of Allah, I place my trust in Allah, and there is no might nor power except with Allah. This is another dua. Bismillahi tawakkaltu alallahi wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So that is actually a very, very important dua, which lots of even children learn when they're children as well in the madrasas and mosques. I do work in a madrasa as well, and in Romford actually. I know you live near Romford. This is a hint here for you to start coming.
All right,
The lectures. So Havering Islamic Cultural Centre, I work in the madrasa there. This is one of the du'as that the children learn. And then does anybody know how else we can protect our houses from bad things, and also protect it from fires and burglaries and things like that?
The Ayatul Kursi?
The Ayatul Kursi, well done. We've got some clever ladies here.
Yeah, and
Very clever ladies here. So Ayatul Kursi is very, very important. It's in Surah Baqarah, in the last part of Surah Baqarah. We also know the last part of Surah Baqarah is also very, very important. It's verse 255. And this is the Ayatul Kursi, if you don't know it yet. It's a strong protection against the jinns. And basically, there are so many stories about reading the Ayatul Kursi to protect your house, especially from Abu Hurairah. So this is the Ayatul Kursi. If you don't know it, then it's better to try and learn it off by heart. It's no good hanging up the Ayatul Kursi in your house, because to say it has a bigger effect on the jinns. Because did you know, when you say it with your voice, it actually promotes positive energy. This is all science, and it counteracts the negative energy of jinns, and the negative energy then goes down and the jinns run away.
Is it just more powerful?
It's very powerful when you say it with your voice. There's a big difference between hanging it up and saying it with your voice.
But it reminds you that you have to read it when it's hanging there, so it's easier.
Yes, yes. Does anybody know why? The other very big reason is why Ayatul Kursi makes the jinns run a mile away, the bad jinns. They run a mile away when they hear it. Does anybody know why? What doesn't Shaitan like? Remember, Shaitan is a jinn as well. What doesn't he like when you say that? What are you doing when you say the Ayatul Kursi? Ghazala, do you know?
Because you're praising God?
You're praising Allah, and Shaitan doesn't like it. He goes, oh, I don't want to know, and he runs away. You know, like say there's a friend you don't like, and somebody else praises them, and you go, stop, I don't really want to know. You know? Yeah, exactly like that.
me.
Well, don't you? You say, stop, I don't really want to know about that friend, because you don't really like her. Well, it's exactly the same. You're praising Allah, and the Shaitan goes, I don't want to know, I'm running away from here.
And I
Okay,
think
that's
the
how it
reason
works.
was that why it was revealed was that.
Yes, yes, that's correct. So did you know that there are 9 things in that Ayatul Kursi which praises Allah so high that the Shaitan just doesn't want to know anything about that. So there are 9 traits of Allah, very big, high traits of Allah in the Ayatul Kursi. So the first one, Allah, there is none worthy of worship except He, the ever living, the ever watchful. Does Shaitan like that? No, he wants you to worship him. So he doesn't like that. So he goes, oh, I don't want to know about this. They're going to worship Allah when this. That means they're worshipping Allah when they say this. The next bit is neither drowsiness nor sleep overtakes him. Did you know oversleep is actually from Shaitan? Shaitan sleeps a lot. Okay, you know, idleness, laziness is from Shaitan. So when you say neither drowsiness nor sleep overtakes him, he doesn't like that. Okay, for that reason. To him belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. He doesn't like that. He wants to rule the earth, doesn't he? He was actually thrown down on earth, and he promised that he's going to make everybody try and worship him. So he doesn't like that. Who is there that can intercede with him except by his permission? Now we know that jinns, they do try and intercede for you up where the stars are, and that's why Allah sends all the meteors. Do you know about all of that? All this black magic and stuff? Or when jinns are trying to find out your destiny, they go up there, up in the heavens, and Allah says, get away from here, and he throws shooting stars on them. This is what shooting star is. This is actually in the Quran. Shooting stars are when Allah tries to get rid of all those jinns that are up there trying to find out what your destiny is, and then come here and then go to fortune tellers and things. So he doesn't like that. Shaitan hates that. You know about all of that, don't you?
Sort of.
Yeah, because that's in my black magic lecture. So, in fact, with this, I will send the black magic lecture, and if you can send both links out to everyone here, because I've had a sister who just left, and she wants the link to this. So, who is there that can intercede with him except by his permission? Even if Shaitan tries to intercede and find out your destiny, He can't without Allah's permission. That's what that means, basically. So he doesn't like it when you say that. He knows what is before them and what will be after them. Shaitan wants to do that. He wants to tell you what your destiny is, which baby you're going to have in the future, or where you're going to move to in the future. All of that kind of stuff. So he doesn't like that either. And they encompass not a thing of his knowledge except for what he wills. That's a very important one. I can do this talk today, and some people it will have a big impact on, because Allah wanted you to be impacted. And some people will go away with closed hearts and closed minds and not have changed a bit or learn anything. That's again by Allah's will. Okay? So that bit is that what that means there. His throne extends over the heavens and the earth. How much can you elevate Allah there? Shaitan doesn't want to know about that. He doesn't want to know. He wants to be the ruler of the whole earth. And their preservation ties him not. So even though Allah is ruling the whole world, nothing ties him. And Shaitan, he's lazy. He gets tired. So he doesn't like that when you say that about Allah. And he is the most high, the most supreme. So you end it by saying there's nothing better than Allah. And again he gets jealous. Jealous and envy is actually the two traits of Shaitan. They get jealous, they're envious. And that is why that Ayatul Kursi is so strong. Very, very strong. There is also, believe it or not, a linguistic miracle of Ayatul Kursi, and that's where I'm going to put a really interesting video on now.
The arrangement of the Quran is one of many reasons why Muslims believe that it could only have come from God. In fact, modern research has discovered a remarkable structure in the Quran known as ring composition. To demonstrate this, let's analyze the second chapter of the Quran known as Al-Baqarah, the cow. This chapter consists of a total of 286 verses. The entire chapter can be divided into 9 groups based on theme. The first group of verses talk about faith and unbelief. This mirrors the theme of the last group of verses. The second group covers God's creation and knowledge. This again mirrors the second to the last group's theme. The third group discusses the law given to the Israelites, which mirrors the giving of law to the Muslims in the 7th group. The fourth group relates to the test of Abraham, a mirror of the test of Muslims in the 6th group. The middle group, the 5th group, is the central theme of the entire chapter, the change in direction of the Muslim prayer. Moreover, this verse even contains the word middle. We have made you believers a middle nation, so that you may bear witness to the truth before others. Together these 9 groups form a giant ring composition. As you can see, ring composition is structured as a sort of circle, with the central meaning placed at the center. You can think of it in terms of a mirror, so ring composition is the equivalent of putting a mirror in the middle. What is mentioned in the first half will be reflected in the second half. Things can be taken a step further. If we examine these 9 groups, we find that they each contain sub-ring compositions. So what we have is rings within rings. Things can be taken further still. This sub-ring contains yet another ring within itself. This is the 255th verse known as Ayatul Kursi, the verse of the throne. Just like the chapter which contains it, the verse of the throne can be divided into 9 groups based on theme. The first and 9th parts each mention God's personal names. The second and 8th parts both state that God never tires. The 3rd and 7th parts describe that God owns everything in the heavens and the earth. The 4th and 6th parts make it clear that God has total control over us and we are dependent on Him. Notice that the middle of this verse mentions before and after, which could be yet another allusion to the mirroring of ring composition. It's worth highlighting that not only does the verse of the throne contain its own ring composition, but it is also positioned as a sub-ring within 2 larger rings, a concentric ring composition. We can see that this chapter of the Quran is marvelously designed, being precisely and tightly arranged according to the principles of ring composition. This precision in arrangement is in fact astonishing when we consider the timing of the revelation of these verses. And this is exactly what we find with the Quran's structure. The builder in our example is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The house that he began to build since its first verses were revealed to him is the Quran. The rooms and bricks in our construction example are its chapters and verses. He can never have a design plan in place for the Quran because the revelation of many of its verses depended on events that were out of his control, such as the social developments and challenges that he faced throughout his prophethood. For example, believers would come up to him and question him on a particular matter, or his enemies would challenge him. The responses in the form of revelation would then descend on him, addressing the specific situation that he was facing. How could Muhammad have devised such an intricate plan when he could not predict the events that would dictate the revelation of verses? Such an arrangement would have to be planned in advance, but this was not possible due to these events being out of his control. What this demonstrates is that the author was someone who could predict the future. Possessing knowledge of the unseen is a quality of God, not human beings.
So I just find that absolutely fascinating. And did you know that the tight structure of Ayatul Kursi, there's a certain rhythm and rhyme as well in there, and that also promotes positive energy, huge amounts of positive energy, which counteracts the negative energy of shaitan and jinns as well. And this is why it's so effective. It's not just the words, but it's also the way the structure is of that ayah as well. So it's really, really quite interesting. And scientists have only just recently looked into all of this. Does anybody know what else, apart from the Ayatul Kursi, and also the other things that we mentioned earlier? Yes, the calls. So it's particularly Surah Falaq and also An-Nas. Those are the two that were revealed when someone did black magic on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And those two, again, those surahs are in the Quran, so we can't say we don't believe in black magic and we don't believe all that kind of stuff happens, because it does, because it's when that happened that the two surahs were revealed. So again, those two are also very, very important surahs that you can recite all the time. It doesn't have to be a brand new house, it can be your houses that you live in. Okay, and then we move on. Okay, now the biggest jinns are actually in your toilets, which we know about because jinns eat poo and they like dirty places. Okay, and that's why the Prophet Muhammad said to put a barrier that will prevent jinns from seeing the aura of the sons of Adam. Let any one of you say Bismillah when entering the toilet. That's in Tirmidhi 551. There is a special dua, okay, in entering the toilet. Bismillahi, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubaythi wal-khabaith. In the name of Allah, Allah take refuge with you from all evil and evildoers. And then there is actually one when you come out as well. Ghufran, I seek your forgiveness. Okay, so there's one of entering and there's one of exiting. Some of you, your showers and baths might be in the same place as your toilets. Again, you should really say this when you enter. It's quite important. Okay, and then the other one you say when you see your house. When I came in, I said, Mashallah, the house is lovely. Did you know you can put your own evil eye on all your stuff as well? Because there is, did you know, a jinn inside us as well. You know, they say there's a green-eyed monster in all of us. You heard of that one? There's a green-eyed monster in all of us. You will know about this from the jinn lecture. When we're born, we have a green which goes inside us, which is the evil in us. So we can, through that green, actually put nazar on our own houses.
How do we actually describe nazar? Because sometimes if I'm telling my children about, say, mashallah or something because of buri nazar, and they're like, what is buri nazar? So I can't explain that to them.
Yes, we'll do questions at the end, but if you can please keep that question till the end and keep it in your mind, because I will fully cover that in a minute. Okay? Others will go off topic, and then, well, let's finish this off first. So, mashallah, when you admire your new house, say mashallah. There is actually a story in the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, the story of the two gardens. And there was a haughty man and he had two gardens and he never said mashallah, and then Allah ruined that garden, basically. It's in Surah Kahf. So it's important to say that, and it tells you actually in the Quran, in Surah Al-Kahf, it was better for you to say when you entered your garden, mashallah, la quwwata illa billah, that which Allah wills will come to pass. There's no power but with Allah. If you see me less than you in wealth and children. That's in Surah Kahf, chapter 18, verse 39, the cave. And there's another one. Ibn al-Qayyum said, the one who enters his garden or house and sees something he likes in his wealth or his family should hasten to say these words, and if he does, no harm will befall the thing he admired. Now, did you know that when your house is out in a street like this with loads of houses opposite and next door, other people can put evil eye on your house as they go past as well, even from non-Muslims. It exists. It's not just Muslims that can put it on. In fact, there will be more envy from non-Muslims. You know, there might be a BNP that goes past your house. And then, you know, a Pakistani lives in there and it's, oh no, look at all these Pakistanis have the best cars and the best houses. So they can as well. It's not written that it's only Muslims that do it, because the nature of humans is everywhere, with everybody. So the other one, there is another dua that we can do to protect ourselves from evil eye. That's why I've got the lighthouse there, and lots of ships passing by, and put nazar on that lighthouse. And from the evil of the envier when he envies is actually in the Quran, chapter 113, verse 5. And this is actually the dua. Okay, so you can read that, and I can send it out if you want to. Oh Allah, seek refuge with your perfect words from every devil and from poisonous pests and from every evil, harmful, envious eye. So protect your house from envy and the evil eye. One of the ways in which you can seek protection for your new house from the evil eye and envy is to say this, what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ actually taught us. And again, we should say this all the time. It should not have to be just from a new house. And this is actually in Sahih Bukhari, which is a very strong hadith. And then the other one is the end part of Surah Baqarah. So narrated from Abu Musa that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the likeness of a house in which Allah is remembered and the house in which Allah is not remembered is that of the living and the dead. And that's in Sahih Muslim, volume 2, hadith number 1823. So what's important is that if you don't remember Allah in your house, that brings in obviously the jinns. You're not praising Allah, then obviously the jinns are going to all come in. Because when you praise Allah, what happens to the jinns? They run away, don't they? So you have to keep that going. And it actually tells you, don't spend most of your life in a graveyard called home. Do not make your homes graveyards, for verily shaitan flees from the house in which Surah Baqarah is read, Sahih Muslim. So Surah Baqarah, especially the end part, which also has the Ayatul Kursi in it, is a very, very good surah to recite all the time. If you don't want to recite it, you can play it on a tape recorder or through YouTube as well.
Is it the same effect when you're saying it and you play
It's a better effect when you say it with your mouth, because it's live, isn't it? It's like watching a live show and then watching a movie film. It's like watching this lecture live today and then you watch it on YouTube. It's not going to be the same. The atmosphere isn't there. Okay? So it's better, much better when you say it yourself with your own mouth, because you're gaining reward as well. For each word you say, you're getting, each letter that you're saying, you're getting 10 times more reward. Okay?
Because Surah Baqarah is quite long, they say even if you can recite the last two.
That's what I said, the last two. Yes, they're the main ones, and Ayatul Kursi, or the last part. You don't have to do the whole lot. Okay? And there are other etiquettes as well, so let's forget the jinns now. We've done that bit. Let's get to the good bit. So when, what else can you do, Ghazala, when you've bought a new house? What have you done today? You've got everybody together to say Allah's name, but also you've invited them to dinner. Did you know that's the sunnah? Okay? So It is a sunnah actually to invite all your friends.
As elaborate as this.
So holding a feast after acquiring property, okay, is called vakira, and it's mustahab, recommended to do so, like all kinds of feasts that show you that you're grateful to Allah, and it's a happy occasion, and it is a happy occasion because it's made us happy today. So this is very, very good. So these are all the kinds of good things that you should do, and we should try and stay away from bid'ah basically. And there's lots of Hindu practices which a lot of Pakistanis have actually incorporated into their traditions, which are not to do with Islam. So we need to try and stay away from any bid'ah, because bid'ah is actually the shortcut to Jahannam, and sunnah is actually a long road which leads you to paradise, inshallah. So stay away from innovations. The Prophet Muhammad said, I urge you to follow my sunnah and the way of the rightly guided Khalifas after me. Adhere to it and cling to it firmly. Beware of newly invented things, for every newly invented thing is an innovation, bid'ah, and every innovation is going astray. That's Ahmad and Tirmidhi. So basically you follow what the Prophet did, then you follow what the next 4 Khalifas did, and then after that were the next generation, and that's where it stops. After that is when bid'ah started coming in. And by bid'ah, I mean the only things that I can think of really are anything that is linked with Hinduism. So anything the Hindus may do. So for example, they light fires and green chilies, burn green chilies to get rid of jinns. Some Pakistanis may start doing that. I actually do know somebody who did, to get rid of evil eye, burnt some red chilies and the gardens. And you just think, how's a hot going to get rid of a hot thing? It doesn't make sense. So, when it comes to jinns, fire can't get rid of fire. Jinns are made out of smokeless fire. Okay? So, to get rid of a jinn, the only way, believe me, is by reciting the Quran and Allah's words. So, things like that. That is just an example that I'm giving you of an example of bid'ah. Okay? And bid'ah, like I said, can lead you to hellfire. And that actually brings me to the end. So these are all the good things that we should do, and I'm just flaring up any bid'ah items, which is usually linked to Hinduism, which is a pagan religion, and we as Muslims are the opposite of paganism. Our religion is all about Tawheed and the worship of one Allah, so we will go against Islam if we do things that the polytheists are doing, which is the belief of lots and lots of gods. Okay, right, let us now have questions. So we're going to start with your question. How do you know when
it's not
evil
how
eye?
do you know, it's how to explain your children that what buri nazar is.
Right.
I know what it is because I've been told by my mother and father, but my kids don't exactly know because I don't know how to explain it to them.
Yes. The best way to explain it to a child born in this country is, there's a saying of there is a green-eyed monster in all of us. That is even in Christianity. That saying is actually from Christianity. So that means that within all of us, we have got a jinn in all of us. We were born with it. It's called the green, if you look into Islam. All of us have. So we have bad thoughts sometimes. We are not prophets. We are not perfect angels. All of us sin. And we sin because this green whispers to us, okay? So what happens is when you see somebody and you think, you know what, I really envy that. I like her suit, or I like to be fair like her, okay? What happens is your green-eyed monster that's in you, the green, it sends out negative vibes, okay? And that negative energy affects that person. So they may get ill for no reason at all. Their skin that you've attacked and said, oh, I like that white skin, or fair, mashallah, might all of a sudden become spotty the next day. Yeah? That's how you know. You know, another way how you know if somebody, this has actually happened in my house, somebody said, oh, I like your plant, it's lovely. And the next day it's shriveled up, brown and dead, overnight. The negativeness of the nazar went on that plant like a magic
happened
power.
with me as well once. You know, I was wearing this necklace and my friend was sitting next to me and she's like, oh, it's a beautiful necklace. And it just came down.
Calm down, that's nazar.
And she got so scared. I'm like, no, it's all right. You know?
So you know what you say in that
It just
case?
came down like that.
What you say in that case, if they don't say mashallah, you say it.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
But what about if you say it with a good intention, that, oh, that's really beautiful? Does that still...
It can still happen, you know why?
Yes.
Which is really interesting, is when you say it with a good intention, that's you.
Yeah.
But not the Qareen inside you, which is the shaitanic part of you. So you might say, oh, I love your house, beautiful, mashallah. And the Qareen inside you say, no, actually I don't. So always better to say mashallah, even with a good intention. Evil eye, actually we know all of this already, is actually one of the reasons of death. They say. They say more people die from evil eye than from other things, which is really scary. So like I said, I'm definitely going to send that link out of the Black Magic lecture, which goes in line really with what I'm talking about.
Okay. My non-Muslim friends say mashallah. When she's like, you've got beautiful nails, and I'm like, say mashallah, and she's like, yeah, she's the non-Muslim, but she'll be like, mashallah, that's all right.
Yeah, that's really good. But if they don't, because I live in a very English area, and they would run a mile if I said mashallah. They'd say, oh my God, extreme. Then you say it in your heart.
Oh, we can say it.
You say it. You say it with your heart or in your mind. Okay? Right. Do we have any other questions? I always take questions.
If you start saying, like, say for example, you're praising somebody and you say, Subhanallah, this and this is really good. But that's when you've already said something towards it, or do you still have to say MashaAllah? Sorry.
What do you mean? So
I say, Subhanallah, you've got a beautiful house, yeah?
Yes,
So
that's
is-
good enough.
is it-
Subhanallah, you're praising Allah. Any praise of Allah, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Mashallah,
So you still
any
have
of
to say
those
MashaAllah.
is fine. But Mashallah, it's still good to say it because it's written in the Quran to say it. You know Surah Qaf, in that story, there's a story of the two gardens. And Allah specifically said that his garden was
And
destroyed
so
because
it's
he did not say Mashallah.
Oh, is that
So-
in Surah Qaf?
It's in Surah
Yeah,
Qaf.
it is.
I have got Surah Qaf lecture as well, the whole stories of Surah Qaf. So maybe I'll send that link out as well. If I was you, I'd just go on my YouTube channel, it's Sidra Naeem, and you can find all these lectures, all in English.
So we can ask our children to see that as well.
Yeah, it's best for children because I do them for children actually, so that they understand, and in English. My next lecture is actually Dawah training program. If you want to come to that with a certificate, it's not just about if you're going to go out and start doing Dawah. It's for your own neighbours, so you know when you get Islamophobic questions, how to deal with them. Like, you know, are Muslim women oppressed? Or, you know, I heard that you're allowed to have 4 wives in your religion. And that, Muslims don't know how to answer that. So it's ways, and Aisha being 9 years old when she got married, so many things like that. So that is my next Dawah training program. It's a whole day with free dinner. Right, any more questions before I finish?
So what about black magic? You know, like you say you read things, or I've heard about ruqya.
Yes, yes.
Do you have to go to somebody, or is it something that you can read yourself?
You know what? Ruqya is better if you go to somebody else who knows the full, how to do all the full ayahs. You can read it yourself. There is self-ruqya as well, which you can do. But if you go to Imams and things, it's better if they do it because they got the right tajweed that will release all the proper sound waves that will get rid of the jinn. But I will warn you all that there is a lot of business in all of this, and there are so many Imams out there who, even if there's no jinn inside you, will say you have got a jinn just to drop all the money. £70 or so. It's very difficult actually to trust Imams, and I hate to say this on camera, but I do know an Imam who went round vulnerable. Remember, you're vulnerable when you are possessed by a jinn. And I know a poor vulnerable girl who was actually sexually assaulted by an imam because she was in that position and he thought he could use her.
So there was a documentary. It happens a lot in Pakistan as well. I saw a documentary.
Yes. So
I don't
what
know if
is
it happens
very
here as well.
important is, first of all, if you are going to get an imam, to make sure somebody else is there with you. Okay, a mehram, very, very important. And also a trusted imam. The ones from back home, again, I feel fearful when I say this, but I've had so much experience. The ones from back home are more likely to do this for money, and because there's fraud out there, then they come in this country and they are more likely to do it. I'm not saying all imams are like that. The British ones are less likely to do it because they've grown up in the culture here and they're not after money all the time. But still, do your homework. And also, mark my words, any imam you go to will say, yes, you're possessed by jinn. Even if I went, they'd say, yes, you're possessed by jinn. And then because of money.
Is that all because of money making?
It's all money making. Don't forget imams, they don't earn much in mosques and things. So they do have businesses on the side, and this is a huge business out there. Really.
So it's up to you whether you trust them to follow them to do what they say.
Yes.
A lot of these imams do give you quite drastic things to do.
Yes.
Like sleeping with a white chadar with the ayats on there, you know.
See, that it doesn't sound right. You have to do your own homework. Why would you do that when you can recite the ayahs yourself?
Yeah.
The other thing is that we have to be careful with mental health as well, because we know that mental health can be linked with not being connected with Allah, because we know in the Quran it says, surely in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest, and if you don't remember Allah you will lead a depressed life. We know that. But sometimes the chemicals in your brain are not correct, and just doing the ruqya and just reciting Quran will not correct the chemical stuff in there. For example, bipolar or schizophrenia, things like that. So for that you do need medication as well as reading Quran, reading the Salah.
That's what I've heard from a scholar, that jinns are there, but you know how this show in movies that you get possessed, that's not true. You don't actually get possessed by jinns. It's just that they are there, they exist, but they can't possess you.
They can
These are just
possess you,
stories
but
of
not as
psychology.
much as what people are saying. They can possess you
They can.
because there are jinns around everywhere.
So they can possess you.
They can possess you, but it's not as often as what people say.
Right, okay.
Yes, we know that this does exist because if you look at the black magic lecture I did, somebody did go up to the Prophet who was possessed. Okay, so that lecture is all quite authentic.
So schizophrenia and bipolar.
Yes, schizophrenia.
That's where we
Do you know what?
clash.
Do you know what schizophrenia?
That's hearing voices.
Is hearing voices, but that's the voices of the shaitan telling you to do bad things. If you look at stories, real life stories, you know Jack the Ripper, the Yorkshire Ripper, whatever it was, he used to be a grave digger in a graveyard. Well, what do you think happened there? We know jinns exist in graveyards. So the jinn did get possessed by a jinn 100%, and he spoke to him and told him to murder and do all the wrong things. Yes. So in that case, a ruqya was needed, but also alteration of the chemicals in your brain so that you recognize the voices you're hearing are not real voices. So it is both. It is both.
Should ruqya be done in front of an imam, or could you do it on your own at home?
You can do it on your own, which there is self-ruqya for low-level stuff. But don't forget, when you read the Quran, it's different from an imam reading the Quran. So when you read the Quran, the tajweed isn't the same, which will release the positive sound waves that get rid of the jinn. Whereas when an imam does it, he'll have proper tajweed, proper positive sound waves, which will counteract the negative energy. This is all science.
What if it's a recording? Can you play recording?
Recording you can, but again, I covered this earlier. better to do it with a human voice. It's like watching a live show compared to a movie afterwards on that same show, and it's not the same impact.
So how helpful is hijama? I've heard that's quite helpful.
Hijama is good as well. Again, for low level kind of stuff. It's supposed to get rid of all the bad stuff in your body and things like that. That is supposed to be good as well. Basically, whatever the Prophet told us is what we should follow. So the Prophet told us about hijama, and that is a good thing as well. But not for high level stuff. This is where the problem is, and you know about all this. You think that, when you're starting to hear voices and things, and all these things will just get rid of it. It won't. Then you do need to seek medical help. In the Prophet's days, they did have medical help. Did you know they drank camel urine? You heard about that one?
No.
Camel urine. Because that is very, very alkaline, and it gets rid of the acidity of jinns and things. It's true. You can look it up. It's true. Some of you may get WhatsApp messages about that, but it's actually the latest thing people are looking into. So medication did exist even in the Prophet's days. If you look at the ajwa dates, for example, ajwa dates get rid of evil jinns because they have a high phosphorus and magnesium content, which releases positive ions. And that's medicine, is it not? Ajwa dates, they release positive ions from the magnesium and phosphorus, which counteract the negativeness of the jinns. 7 ajwa dates is enough you need to protect you.
They say even the stones in the ajwa dates are really good if you just grind them up.
Grind them.
Good for your bones.
Yes, and also ajwa dates, when you can make nabid out of them, the liquid, the dates liquids, the sherbet that's out in Ramadan and stuff like that. That's all medication when you think about it, isn't it? So I don't like it when Muslims say, oh no, reading the Quran is enough, I'll just read my salah and I'll be fine. You can still suffer from mental health. So medication you have to do as well with the high level stuff. If you're just feeling low, then yes, the Quran will make you happy. We know there is healing in the Quran, and reading the Quran makes you happy and does heal diseases and things. Did you know when you read the Quran, the cells in your body are irregular shaped? When you read the Quran, your cells become whole. That is amazing. And your brain expands because of that, and all the happy hormones in your brain, they get more in your brain. That's why you feel happy once you've finished reading Quran. It's like meditation, isn't it?
That's why you feel calm and relaxed.
All this mindfulness which is out there in the counselling. Do you know what mindfulness is? That period at the end of your salah when you're in sajda and you're in total quietness, and that is the mindfulness.
And they've taken it from the Buddhist theme. They haven't taken it from the Islamic context, they've taken it from the Buddhist. Yet we always had mindfulness.
We've always had it. That Buddhist meditation at the end is exactly the same as Islam. But what we should do is, our good old lovely prayer is everything, a complete package of everything. Why would we need to go back in time? Why would we get an iPhone 3 when we've got an iPhone X? Why would we need to do that? You take the latest phone, which has got all the apps all on it, the updated apps, and you go by that. Our prayer is the one that's got all the updated apps. The chakra and all that is Hinduism. All 7 parts of our body go to the ground when we pray. Everything is in a complete package, and we've got additional package of wudu as well. Did you know that gets rid of all your sins and calms you down and gets rid of your anger? We've got the whole complete package. So why would you go back and do yoga and meditation and all that rubbish when we've got the full, latest, updated prayer package? Salah.
And wudu will keep you away from all those jinns and everything.
Yes, because it gets rid of your sins in between as well, doesn't it? As long as you do your dua before you go into the toilet, mind you, to do your wudu. Okay, any more questions before we finish? You've done really well, Bud. I'm really impressed by the ladies here. Do you know that? They do know a lot, and they're taking on board what I've said, which is really good. I can usually get a very good vibe from the audience, and I've had a very good one here, so it's really good. You've got good friends and families.
I'm just typing a few things that you've said, and literally I've got like so much.
Yes. Shall we stop now, because I'm getting hungry.
I think Yeah, I'm
because I've got to start now. I'm going to just quickly do very quick couple of minutes dua only. And I've got starting with Surah Fatiha.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا
So basically I was just going to say the rest of the dua in English because we haven't got much time. So if we can all pray for Ghazala that her house is blessed and she doesn't come across any hardships in this house. Sometimes we move into a new house and all the hardships start because it's not, destiny for that house to be good. So, may that house be full of blessings as long as you keep praying to Allah here. May the house not come across any hardships like, the stuff. Sometimes you go into a house and things are broken in the house and all sorts. One thing after the other happens. So to protect her house, to protect it from jinns and things, and to wish her many happy years to come in this house with many other blessings like money or children, marriage for the children. Certain houses, not your marriage for the children. Some houses are blessed and you move in and it brings so many good things to you, doesn't it? So, all the good things may that house bring to you for the children and grandchildren in the future and things like that. May Allah protect her from, jealousy and evil and things like that. And keep all the lovely friends and the family that you've got here today to keep coming in and out of your house as well. And to carry on many gatherings like this, including Islamic ones as well in the future. May Allah bless her whole family with good jobs and good iman and money and wealth and happiness and health as well. Health is very, very important for everybody. So may Allah bless her with good health and keep everybody bonded as well. Sometimes you go into a new house and all of a sudden all the relatives get jealous and all these other things start happening.
Keep bonding.
Make everyone united together, stay together, with their families and things. And may Islam grow in this house. We've always got room to improve. There is not such thing as a perfect person. We'll all be prophets otherwise, wouldn't we? We're all learning, and may Allah give us the knowledge, really, and the enthusiasm and the drive to keep learning as well. And also give us the intelligence to understand the religion. Because already today I've noticed some sisters have understood what I've said, which is a really good thing. That tawfiq is actually from Allah, because He made you understand that. So that is very important as well. And that is actually a blessing from Allah. So may everybody here get the knowledge as well to understand His deen and carry on. May Allah also protect this house from BNPs and all evil people out there. Because this is an English area, isn't it? Already you've got all English neighbours out there.
But subhanallah, since I've been here, this is the first area that's really welcomed me. Everybody has said hi, have you moved, when did you move? I've never had this ever before. I went to Ireland where they're really friendly, but nobody has been so welcoming. So subhanallah.
And that is a blessing as well, isn't it? Because you can end up with horrible neighbours who tell you to move your car.
People have been really, really
When I parked up, I actually did notice somebody said hello to me. And it was an English lady smiling at me.
So it's
But they also also give us the strength to deal with any Islamophobia in the area and to bring our neighbours to Islam. How many sisters do I know in Ramadan who went out and gave iftar and things to their neighbours? And I know somebody now in Shepherd 100 where the neighbours have now become Muslim because of the role model, her being a good role model. Because the neighbour said, I don't know what religion you've got, but I love it. The fact that you give out all throughout Ramadan, you know. So may us also get the ikhlas to do that with our non-Muslim neighbours, bring them slowly towards Islam with our good manners in a new area like this, which is quite English from what I can see. So that is very important, and also give us the strength to tackle any questions which we will get once the neighbours get friendly with you. They will start asking you questions about Islam. They want to know, you know, why do I sometimes see you with a scarf on your head? Can you explain that to us? And you know, the knack of doing that is something really interesting as well, to try and explain it in a nice, friendly way, the way the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did everything with his love. That is actually a very different knack than to just parrot fashion. Boom, boom, it's because of this and don't you know this and all this. So that all of that comes moving into a new area, basically. Okay?
Because a lot of scholars, when they try to explain things, it's always about haram, haram, haram.
Yes,
We
and
never
you
say,
go
we
to
never explain the good things.
Yes, and that is a wrong way of preaching. That's not the way the Prophet did it. You do it in a nice way, in a loving way. You bring people towards Islam with your mannerism. We know the Prophet had bad neighbours. He had that horrible woman who used to throw rubbish and thorns on his feet and all sorts. And then every day she would do that, and then one day she wasn't there, and he noticed she was missing, and hang on a minute, where's all that rubbish gone? So he asked about her, that where are you? You know, where's that woman who used to throw rubbish on my feet? And someone said, she's ill, she can't get out of bed, she's ill. And what did he do? He went round her house. He didn't say what goes round comes round, serves him right, did he? He said, you know what, I'm going to go round. So he went round her house and he held her hand and he said, you know, are you okay? I heard you wasn't well and I've come to see you. And she said, I don't know what religion it is that you've got, but if that's what your religion preaches you, to be good to somebody who's even bad to you, then I want to be exactly like you. And she became Muslim then, and they took a shahada. So that also is amazing. No matter how bad somebody is in this area, be good to them, be kind to them, help them with their shopping, help your elders and that kind of stuff. All this is all to do with moving to new house. Okay? Okay, then Ameen. Ameen, let's say Ameen to that. And practice this in your own areas. You don't have to move into a new area. You can start it in your own areas where you live as well.
Can I just say thank you so much for coming, taking the time to come here. I know you're very, very busy and you have to go to a wedding today.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming. You've really enlightened us today.
That's really lovely.
And,
It's
it's really
so
nice
happy
that
to
you're
be
here.
here. Lovely sisters here.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
I'm going to have to look at the door.
Thank you. That's so kind.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much.
That's okay.
Time for food?
I think we should eat now. I'm going to have to go in 5 minutes.
Well, you have to eat
And then